Here.
Trustee here. Secretary Zolke is absent with notice. Trustee Robinson.
Here.
Trustee Smith Colaga.
Here.
Trustee Salter.
Here.
Superintendent Stone.
Here.
Janice Cecil.
Here.
And Clay Stewart.
Here.
All right, let's stand for the pledge.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is our DHS student report.
Hello, my name is Luke Hansen. I'm the secretary of Brandon Student Council. So what's going on at Brandon High School right now? Senior all-night party sales are going on. They are $20 each. They're being sold during lunches on March 10th, March 12th, and the 17th. Band took their trip to Orlando, the annual trip to Disney. They also had a festival on March 8th, and they achieved the highest rating possible, so that was good. Also, Brandon High School qualified to be a green school, which is a school that creates a healthy environment conducive to learning while saving energy, environmental resources, and money. The Crosswalk Art Project. So our art classes, they were tasked with creating crosswalks downtown Ortonville near the fire station and Harvey Swanson. And they're sent to the community to vote on the winner, and then whoever wins that, they'll get to paint that on the crosswalk. And we also have ticket sales going on. They start on March 23rd. For sports, here we have some winter scholar athletes that we want to recognize. For boys basketball, we have Carter Odinga, Gavin Rochester, Cooper Aquilina, Jordan Poniatowski, Aiden Marino, and Dayton Thompson. For girls basketball, Madison Heatherly. For bowling, Juan Carbachon, Brendan Sheffield. For cheer, Ashley Bolin, Cameron Goff, Daniel Hearns, and Addison Lucia. For swim and dive, Gage Palmer, Anthony Benucci, Christopher McCombs, Joel Redburn, and Troy Wichus. And then for wrestling, Caden Ballard, Nathan Brinker, Richard Renaud, and Stella Zilke. And then for spring sports, all sports just finished up tryouts except for boys golf, which started today. And we're now preparing for the first meet or match that they have. And for student council current happenings, we had the blood drive on March 4th, and we got around 20 donations, so that's pretty good. We also had a lock-in at Oakwood last Friday, and it was really fun. Our spring break spirit week is coming up. It's the week before spring break. Monday, we're doing airport for a day. Tuesday is Too Sunny Tuesday, where you wear hats and sunglasses. Wednesday, there's no school. Thursday is Adam Sandler Day, so you dress like him. And then Friday is pajama day. And then we're going to the elementary school on Wednesday this week. And it's our little spring service event where we read to the elementary students. And for our new members, we sent out our applications for student council, and we conducted interviews, and we admitted our new members into the council last week. And then St. Patrick's Day, we have a spirit day tomorrow where we wear green. So that's everything.
Thank you. Okay, next up is superintendent report.
All right, good evening. I'd like to introduce our middle school teacher for the year, Mr. Jason Sheldon, if you don't mind, speaking about the DC trip and upcoming Cedar Point trip.
I know some of you have had your sons and daughters go on the trip, but I don't think I've ever brought the big capital picture that weekend, so I thought I'd share that. So, a couple of trips I'm going to talk about here. We'll start with Cedar Point because that one is coming up. The DC trip won't be until next fall. I'll talk a little bit about how this trip went as well, but for Cedar Point, this is a trip that the middle school's done, I don't want to say say forever, but longer than I've been there, and I've been there for a long time. So Mr. Laux and I took it over 10 years ago, but it at one time was the whole building. It became, when we became a 6 through 8 building, an 8th grade trip. Not necessarily an end of the year trip, but a reward trip. So what I love about this trip, and I think Jenny could speak to this too, it really keeps those 8th graders locked in those last few months of the school year when they get the middle school version of senioritis. They start thinking about high school, and they don't want to work anymore, and the sun's out. And so we hold them to some standards. They have to, just like, almost like athletic standards, they have to be passing all their classes. They have to, we say, not have excessive absences, which gives us some flexibility. We don't set a number, because if you fly to Arizona for a family wedding, that's different than the kid who's not there all the time. And usually the attendance piece and the academic piece go hand in hand. So it really does, it surprised me the last few years, some of the kids who you struggle to motivate all year, and I'm almost like, gosh, I wish we had the Cedar Point trip a little bit earlier, because they're, what's my grade in your class now, Mr. Sheldon? When do you do the grade check? And it's like, it's a really nice motivator at the end of the year for those 8th graders. This year's trip, we are, I'm gonna grab the wrong sheet here, so I've got the wrong date. I wanna say it's the 6th, if that's the first Friday of June. I wanna say it's June 6th, I'm sorry, I got the 24 sheet that I grabbed on accident. But we leave in the morning, charter buses, we leave before the 7th and 6th grade students arrive. We head to the park, we get there before the park opens, so the kids have all day there. We bring parent chaperones on this one chaperone for every 10 students, and their job in the park is to sort of mingle, make sure things are going okay. The students know that they have to stay with another student at all times. They have designated check-in times throughout the day, and it's been a fantastic trip for us for many years now. The kids are excited about it. We will roll out after spring break the expectations, the ticket sales, all of that stuff. We've got the buses booked. Looking forward to it. The price this year is $95. The bus is about $50 per student, and then the tickets are in that $45 range. We also have started, and I'll talk about this a little more at DC, but I also run the middle school like Hoop Fest and the charity drive in the month of March, and we've donated to various charities with that. But this year we started a middle school field trip scholarship, so that for the 6th grade camp and for the 2 trips I'm speaking about tonight, students who have financial needs, we as a school will have some money to disperse to help kids, because we want everybody who wants to go to be able to go to any of these trips. The DC trip, this past year we took 59 students, 8 adults paid to attend. That trip is staff, our chaperones. We bring in 1 staff member for every 15. That's covered through World Strides, the company we travel through, and that ensures that on multiple overnight trip, we're relying on people who work with kids every day to be in those chaperone roles. That trip also, when we stay the night in the hotels, World Strides provides night security that is there in the hallways all night, and they let me know if there's anything going on. And in the morning, they let me know which kids peeked out to see if there was security in the morning. So they're fantastic about that, because like I tell the kids before we go on either of these trips, like, we work really hard for you guys to go. We want you to have fun, and we want it to be safe. Those are, it's not 1 and 2, it's dual 1, because the student safety is very, very important. That trip, again, is around, it's like $2,045 this year. I've looked around at some other companies, but again, for the couple $100 that you might save, World Strides does such a good job with the security. This year when we went, the government shutdown was full swing. They found us other things to do, other places to go. There was a huge protest in DC that weekend too. We didn't even see it. It was not in our way. They're fantastic about making sure that the trip goes as smoothly as possible. I've spoken to the board about our one bus breakdown a few years ago. Some of your kids were on that trip. My oldest son was on that trip. It was the first year I took over on my own. But World Strides was very helpful through that whole process too. So that they're fantastic. This year we've got 35 students and 4 adults signed up. This group's been a little slower in the signing up process, so we keep pushing that information out. The hard deadline is August 7th, but we try to get them signed up early because that gives the parents time to get a payment. And World Strides also provides us with a scholarship that we disperse to students with financial need. That trip upcoming will be next fall, October 21st through 26th. Unlike past years when we would drive through the night, the bus companies don't do that anymore. So we now, starting this past fall, drove down, stayed in a hotel, then went. So it's a couple extra nights in hotels, so it's a little more expensive that way. But I also found that it allows us a little bit of time to let the kids swim in the hotel pool and do some of the other things that they really want to do. So it's almost that give and take like you have in the classroom. If you give me a good effort here, then I'll give you a little something there. So they love the pool piece, and the trip went fantastic this year. I think that was pretty much what I had put in my notes. If anyone on the board has any questions, not much has really changed with the trip. I love my sweatshirt. We always get those everywhere here, so that's why I picture it was a good picture this year because it was sunny, but then for a good picture you're facing the sun, so you may have noticed a few squinting faces there. It was windy too, so we literally had to, they were like, close your eyes, 3, 2, 1, open them and smile. So when we got those, the kids were like, oh my gosh, look at me. And I said, look at any of us, look at the group, don't look at the individual.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate
All right.
it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now I'd like to introduce Cassandra Padilla, please, who's going to speak to us about art and early childhood.
Bringing my timer with me to keep me on track. All right. Thank you. I am Cassandra Padilla. I'm the Early Childhood Program Director here in Brandon. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about exploring creative expression through the arts in early childhood settings. So when we think about the arts, a lot of people oftentimes just think of finger painting, drawing, but the arts are so much more involved. And in early childhood, we focus on specific comprehensive domains of learning, and we assess their learning throughout the year. So our students get what's called a Child Observation Record Report throughout the year to track their growth. And one of those comprehensive domains are the creative arts. That aligns directly to the Michigan standards for early childhood as well. And the creative experiences that children consume while they're in early childhood settings in Brandon will help them to express their thoughts and feelings, build fine and gross motor skills. They're learning through hands-on exploration, which is a research-backed and proven way to learn at this age. So when they're engaging in art, they're also developing social emotional skills. Art helps children to understand and express their feelings. Through their art experiences in our classrooms, they learn to understand their own feelings, but also connect to the emotions of others. They recognize and talk about feelings in themselves. They build self-confidence by sharing their ideas. They also develop self-regulation and calming skills by practicing art. And if you take a moment at the end of the board meeting to kind of peruse our art showcase, We also brought some really fun things that were done in the classrooms. One of our teachers does a, not a self-portrait, what would you call that paper mache project? They make a paper mache head of themselves. They make their own head in paper mache. But you can kind of see the students looking at themselves, recognizing their features, learning about the diversity within their classroom by comparing their features to that of their peers. And they learn to understand and recognize that diversity is what unites us. So we're going to go through a little bit and talk about the components that fall within that comprehensive domain of creative arts. There's different indicators that fall under that domain, and each indicator has its own element. So first of all, of course, art. In art, we're working on fine motor skills. We're working on our ability to observe and create and be expressive. We're also learning problem solving and decision making, because it doesn't always go the way we plan for it to go, right? Our art experiences help children experiment and explore materials and then share their ideas visually as well. And I've got some pictures here. This is that project I was telling you about, where children are learning about diversity. They understand that people have diverse characteristics and interests and abilities by creating projects like this. So you can see our friend looking at themselves with a mirror, and then actually working on creating a art piece that looks like them, that represents their features. And then children also express and represent what they observe. So this student is 4, and he's super into the solar system, like the planets, stars, everything is very exciting to him. So you can see in the green, he actually drew the solar system and the order of the planets. And then this is just a sampling. He has a portrait of every planet, and I think like the moons and the stars and everything that go along with it, all along the windows in his classroom. And it's really fun to see him creating things. Last year when he was in 3-year-old preschool, every day he worked with Play-Doh, and he was cutting out planets and shaping them and making them in Play-Doh. So he has a huge interest in science, and he expresses that through art. The second component is music. So music supports their learning through rhythm and sound and movement. One thing that we don't often think about with music is that it also supports their understanding of mathematics. Patterning and beat keeping a rhythm is one way to really help children understand math. They also learn cooperation through group activities. So part of our day is a large group activity, and that's almost always something related to music and movement. So children learn to cooperate, take turns, and share space, which is important. We have some photos of children engaging with musical instruments, doing a musical parade in that photo, and then down in the bottom, they were using instruments to explore sound and simple rhythms. For movement, we think about movement, physical expression, not just physical activity, but actually using your body to practice your gross motor skills, your body awareness, to focus your energy and regulation. When we dance and use action songs to follow direction, it also helps you to practice that skill of active listening and following direction, which we really like to see as kids progress through school, right? We have some photos of them dancing with scarves, children creating their own dance or a series of movements, and then repeating the sequence is one of the indicators that we look for when we think about development in this category. And then you can also see some different forms of movement and expression or following direction for movement. This class was doing a musical yoga activity, dancing with bubbles, and then, as we all remember from the early 90s, the big parachute activities. The next component of creative arts is pretend play. This is something that you may not think about very often when you're thinking about creative arts, but it is creative expression. So through role play and storytelling, children are exploring ideas, relationships, and exploring the real world interactions that they'll experience as they get a little bit older. So with pretend play, we practice communication and language, our social emotional skills and problem solving develops. And there's some great photos of children engaging in first time play. They may use specific props or even using an item to stand in for another item. I think you can all remember being a child and holding a banana and talking to the banana phone. That was something that happened at lunchtime today. This is one of my very favorite photos that I took this year in the middle. This little one is doing her eyebrows. So we observe things in our natural world and then we emulate them when we're pretending and we're using our active imagination. I also see our friend over here who built a tool belt because that's how he wanted to play that day. And then Miss Melinda is in the hair salon getting taken care of by her not beauty school dropouts. All right, so I want to say thank you for learning a little bit about creative arts. And then I also want to invite you, this is a special invitation, if you have a talent in art, music, or any kind of creative expression, we invite you to visit our classrooms and share your talents as a guest visitor with our students. It really helps to inspire their creativity and then build those relationships with others as we get older and to see things that are different outside of our classrooms. Again, we did bring some art, so when you have some time at the end of the board meeting, feel free to take a look at everything that we brought tonight. Are there any questions?
Thank you. That was great. Okay, next up is approval of consent agenda.
I'll move the Brainerd Board of Education approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote? Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith-Pelota?
Yes.
Mrs. Paul?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes? Yes. Mr. Kowski, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Okay. All right, next is information and discussion items for board reports. I'm gonna take a moment to honor someone that has really worked hard for our district for the past 14 years. Don't roll your eyes. So I just want to take a moment to recognize and thank Janice Diesel for her years of dedicated service as Chief Financial Officer for our district. During her time with us, Jan has worked alongside 7 superintendents, including interim and acting, as well as stepped in herself as acting superintendent to help guide the district through periods of transition and keep things running smoothly. She has supported multiple boards of education and central office teams and has overseen countless audits, consistently earning outstanding reviews under her leadership. I always joke that Plant Moran has it like this shining, I feel like she deserves a medal after they leave here. Her commitment to accuracy, transparency, and fiscal responsibility has helped keep our district on strong financial footing. Since joining the board, I've personally seen how Jan's knowledge of school finance has helped guide our decisions and maintain stability even during years of flat or declining state funding, which is really difficult. She has worked tirelessly to balance the budget while continuing to support our students and staff. School finance is one of the most complex areas for board members to understand, and Jan has always been incredibly patient, presenting information, answering questions, and making sure we have the knowledge we needed to make thoughtful decisions. Jan, we are truly grateful for your expertise, dedication, and steady leadership over the years. On behalf of the Board of Education and the entire district, thank you for everything you've done. We wish you the best in your well-deserved retirement. Thank you. We appreciate you. All right. Next is finance report.
Rob, come on in. You're up.
I'm up. All right.
Good entrance.
This is great.
So Rob is here tonight. Rob Bernardi is from Direct Energy.
Hello, everyone.
And the district we've had a partnership with Rob since before I got here. And it is kind of a complex, the way we buy our utilities. So I thought it would be good. Number one, we're getting a big increase next year, which I told you about. And I really wanted Rob to speak to kind of the history and why we're giving this increase. I thought it would be a good, since we're in budget season, I thought it would be, I've never had you come to a meeting, so thank you for joining us, and who's going to explain
Welcome. Thank you.
Fire Energy.
Yeah, yeah. I have been working in the energy industry since I was about 17. I was a heating and cooling guy, went to Ferris State University for energy management, and I'm 100 in support of education. My father's a teacher. We've got 6 family members that are teachers. So I love this stuff. I went to the Tech Center in St. Clair for heating and cooling, took me to Macomb Community College, Ferris State, and I worked at Consumers Energy for almost 13 years. So I started the company in 2003, and we saw a hole in the industry to help customers navigate utilities. Not everybody in the administration is experts in electric and natural gas. So we got in there, been managing energy for 23 years under the Executive Energy. My partner is an electrical engineer. I'm sorry, he's Ohio State. But he's a real sharp guy, and we really do well together. So procurement performance. So I started with 15 public schools coming out of the transportation program at Consumers Energy. And very quickly, districts were reaching out to me. We now have 62 public schools under management. In 2024, we saved them $9 million. So one of the reasons I was asked to come here is to explain the huge budget increase. Back in 2020, me and my partner saw some things coming, and we started hedging long-term electricity contracts for our customers. And in fact, I think it was in 2020, I convinced her to go along, and so we did. So we actually did 2 consecutive back-to-back deals that secured your electric prices under 6 cents kilowatt hour. Starting in January of 2023, the other 570 public schools in the state either buying their electricity directly from Detroit Edison or Consumers Energy, or the smaller group, there's another group, about 80 school districts that are on electric choice as well. They started paying 8.5 cents a kilowatt hour in January of 2023. You're still paying under 6 cents a kilowatt hour for another 4 months. So we postponed the inevitable. Because when the tide rises, all ships rise, right? It's the old saying. So we postponed that. So currently, though, this year we're expecting $7 million in savings. Brandon's going to save $104,000 this year, and we're projecting this end of this fiscal year to be another $8 million for our clients, and Brandon to save $120,000. So this is just kind of what we do in the background, and I didn't want to get into too much details, but we analyzed each of your buildings. And when I first took over Brandon, I realized that the high school wasn't on the right rate, because for large meter customers, there's a tremendous amount of distribution discounts. And one of our big hitters, if you have in the community, is multifamily properties. A lot of multifamily properties that are on the wrong rates because people don't realize when they have single meter units, the multifamily property is geared towards residential, and those residential customers pay a tremendously high rate on a per unit basis. Not overall, but on a per unit basis. So when you use a larger volume, you get a volume discount, and just the high school alone saved almost $12,000 on distribution charges by not being on the standard gas distribution rate for the utility. On the electric side, your high school is a primary rate, so we run the analysis on if you bought your electricity directly from the utility versus what you pay being on the electric choice program, and you can see you're saving 18%, $63,000 would be the savings just for the high school. Okay, so we make sure we get into those details to make sure our customers are getting what they deserve. Electric, natural gas budgets, so this is what we wanted to show you, make sure everybody understood. You paid $614,000, those are actual numbers. Our year-to-date forecast for this year is $649,000, and the big jump in budget is in fiscal year '27 at $781,000. Any questions on that? Okay. I know it's a big budget, I know the community's gonna hit it, but we've done very well. You guys should all be proud of what you're doing, and you've been saving a lot of money. We've probably saved over $6 million since I've been working with the district. Natural gas here, budget's not too bad. We actually locked in your gas back in 2021. We locked your gas in for a multi-hedge, and continue to increase those hedges to try and stay ahead of the game. You don't always save money, let's make that clear. You know, it's like in the stock market, if I was always right, I probably wouldn't be good enough. But we do very well. And we pay a little more sometimes, but we protect the district. There's a number of school districts out there that were on the local listserv programs that the community uses, the education community uses to learn and work with each other to learn. You know, their energy prices in January were 25% more than what you guys pay. So we hedge most of your gas, we use storage, and we manage those things to try and limit spikes. You know, we're going to see more volatility. I've seen $25 gas, I've seen $31 gas, I've seen $40 gas. And this is natural gas. And you guys are locked in at $3.85 for 80 to 85% of your monthly needs. So, again, some months you might pay a little more, but overall we're doing really well. Why energy management is important? So just in the last 5 years, utilities have seen 8%, 7% rate increases. And it's been going on like that since 2020. And we are forecasting, how many have seen in the news, the data centers being built, all that stuff. That's just, you know, that's the big picture that everybody's looking at, but all the small stuff, the gas distribution, the need for expanding gas pipelines, the data centers are just now coming online, so there's so much more that's going to be spent on energy infrastructure around the country. So we are concerned, and the only way to reduce your budget going forward is to reduce the use. And it's hard. It's hard for the schools. You have to run the buildings when the kids are in the building. You have to have fresh air when the kids are in the building. I was a facilities guy for 13, 14 years before I became an energy manager, and I've been there. I've been there when you're trying to save energy, but you need to have a comfort space for the people to work or for the kids to learn. So it's hard for you guys to cut energy, but we need to use technology to do that. We need to use the right systems, and during your bond projects, you really need to try and focus on energy efficiency in your bond projects. But these are the rate cases that are coming and pending. They just approved rate case 2860 for DTE Electric, and it's another $240 million on top of the $217 million that the revenue that DTE already got in the rate in October of 2025. So this is a rate case that's hitting the bills March 1st. Now, we protected you from some of that, but on the distribution side, DTE is still your distributor. So you're going to see some of those increases that are going to keep coming. On the natural gas side, Consumers Energy rate case 21,585, and that is another $153 million. So your distribution side, I can't control. Those are utilities costs that are going to keep climbing. Database management, we do that already on your behalf. We've got the buildings all benchmarked to KBTUs per square foot, cost per square foot. And so I've offered our services for future bond projects or single fund projects to help try and focus on energy efficiency, so maybe we can start doing that in the future. But establish goals and identify services and technologies that can help the district be more efficient. These are just some of our partners. Operations Hero is also a facilities management. They can help the staff with coordinating service calls and things like that. In maintenance and operations, Cody Labs is a company we work with some of the biggers like Ford Motor Company and UofM. They do AI technology in building efficiency and operation systems and building automation systems. So we run analytics on when your handlers start, when your motors start. Can we start those 15 minutes later? And are the valves leaking and heat loss and things like that? Energy Syndicate, we're doing solar analysis for those. By the way, your electric contract, starting in 2030, you're going to have 50% of all your energy is going to come from the solar plant. And we're still going to be a penny less per kilowatt hour than Detroit is. So I'm very proud of that, very proud of that. Energy, ESCOs, it's energy service companies. I have partnerships with Trane, Honeywell. We do energy efficiency projects. So when districts don't have enough funding, we can do performance contracts. So we can actually pay for the repairs out of your operating budget when you can't afford a bond or if you can't pass a bond. Retro commissioning, these are things that we can do through your building automation systems with that AI technology. Instead of spending $120,000 on an engineering firm, we use technology. So we add the technology to the sensors in your buildings that you already have, and we can start sensing trouble problems. So you identify 5 major issues, and then you send somebody out to go look at those issues, and it can save money. With LED lighting projects, if the district hasn't done them, we should do them, because the rebates are going away. Our president has took away the tax credit for energy efficiency, solar and wind and all that. And the state's going to be taking away the applications for rebates for lighting because it is a 2-year payback now to replace your lights. And if people aren't going to do it, they're never going to do it. So they're going to take away the rebate. So there's a rebate that pays for about 25–30% of the cost of the light bulb or the light fixture. So, but you do have some of them done, I know. EV charging stations, it's still, even without the tax incentive, the EV charging is still coming. They're not selling as many cars, they're not selling, but there are a lot of buses. There's been a lot of buses that are coming through the pipe. You just have to do your research. We are actually working on one of the school districts. We're installing solar to charge the buses, and then we're going to sell the excess power back to the grid. So we're going to use those buses as a battery storage device, and we're going to make money on that. But it's a big adventure. If you don't get the grant, the buses are very expensive. So we'll have to talk about that, but if you have interest on that. And value-adding partnerships, just the value, the enterprise and site level of dashboards and technology that's out there, scheduling of events and being more efficient on how you communicate with the community. If the community uses the buildings a lot, the communication between the operations department, the community, and the parents, that you can add efficiency to that so buildings aren't left on when nobody's in them and things like that. Optimize start-stop, functional testing tools, and fault detection systems to prevent outages and loss of education time. So, short on time, so I'll leave it up to any questions now.
Thank you. That was really informative and interesting. Thanks for educating us. And we appreciate that hard work you do to, give us the lower cost
Thank you.
to both you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next up is action items. Website contract approval.
I'll move the Brandon Board of Education approve the website contract as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Okay. Next is approval of the 2026-27 school district calendar.
Move that the Brandon Board of Education approve the 26-27 school district calendar as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
That was Jody? Yes.
Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of the 2025-2026 BEA salary schedule increase.
I'll move the Brandon Board of Education approve the 2025-2026 BEA salary schedule increase as presented.
Second.
Oh.
Hillary,
Hillary.
any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of the 2025-2026 FAFSA contract and salary schedule increase.
Move that the Brandon Board of Education approve the 2025-2026 FESPA contract and salary increase as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of the 2025-2026 BAA salary schedule increase.
Move the Brandon Board of Education approve the BAA salary schedule increase as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of distribution of 271 funds for the 2025-2026 school year.
I'll move the Brandon Board of Education approve the distribution of the 271 funds for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of ABM contract.
Move the Brandon Board of Education approve the ABM contract as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of the 2026 8th grade Washington DC field trip.
Move the Brandon Board of Education approve the 8th grade Washington DC field trip as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of the 2026 8th grade Cedar Point field trip.
Move that the Brandon Board of Education approve the 8th grade Cedar Point trip as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Approval of HR report.
Move the Brandon Board of Education approve the human resources report as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCrasky, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. FOIA appeal request.
A Freedom of Information Act appeal was submitted to the board on February 26, 2026. Pursuant to MCL 15.2403, the appeal is deemed received on today's date. This board has not received a FOIA appeal in recent memory. Accordingly, pursuant to MCL 15.2402D, I move that the board find that unusual circumstances exist and extend for not more than 10 business days or until April 13, 2026. The deadline for the board to respond to the appeal so that the board may obtain legal counsel.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith Colaga?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Pressler, yes. Mrs. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes. Okay, motion's passed. Next up is citizen input. I'm just gonna read a quick statement before we get into that. The Brandon Board of Education recognizes the value of public comments and the importance of expressing yourself to us on district matters. You must sign in with your name, email, file all that. When addressing the board, please recognize yourself by stating your name. Each statement shall be limited to 3 minutes. You can only speak once. The statements shall be directed at the board only. Generally, the board will not respond to public comments during the meeting. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. To ensure due process and respect of individual rights, the district maintains a formal process for handling complaints against individuals. A problem involving an individual or a specific incident is best handled through administrative channels. Such matters should be reduced to writing and sent to the superintendent or the board president. While it is not our intent to stifle public comment, speakers should be aware that if your statements violate the rights of others, the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally responsible. If you are unsure of the legal ramifications of what you're about to say, we urge you to consult with your legal advisor. The board wants to hear what people have to say. We expect each speaker will model for our students and others in the audience on how we can respectfully disagree with others, views, or voice an opinion or ask questions. All right, first up is Buffy Lowers.
I need first. Gosh. I do well when I'm just talking to Jan, not everybody. And sometimes Dan, my boss. Okay, so good evening. My name is Buffy Lowers. I am the secretary of the high school. I also wear the hat of being the president of the VESPA group. The VESPA is the Brandon Educational Support Personal Association. Our group consists of secretaries, attendance clerks, and librarians. We have been negotiating with Jan for the last 13 years, and I really would like to thank you, Jan. We have enjoyed working side by side with you and want to wish you the best retirement. Joining me tonight to say thank you is Connie Vadline, Vice President, who's the librarian of the high school, and the librarian of the high school, Harvey Swanson. Jackie Hubart is the secretary and the treasurer of VESPA, who's the attendance clerk at Harvey Swanson. Thank you for the numerous hours you put in for our group. We will miss working with you next year. Thank you, Jen.
All right, next up is Justino Carano, here to talk about the Grease musical.
Good evening. I'm Justino Carano. I'm the choir teacher and musical director, and we just wanted to let you know about our musical this weekend and invite you all to join us. Come out Friday night and Saturday night. We have a show at 7. Sunday we have a show at 2:30, and also on Saturday, Lord willing, we are hoping to have a small car show out front to show off some classic cars to go along with it. You guys want to say anything? All right. All right. A lot bamboo. We're for each other like a wild bamboo. Just like my brother, sha-na-na-na-na, yippee-boom-de-boom. Change, shabbat, we'll always be together. Whoa, yeah! Always be together. Always be together. Always be together. Always be together.
On Sunday, it's at 2:30 or
2:30.
2:30, okay. Somebody told me 3, so.
All right, thank you. And then, all right, we are adjourned at 7:20.